Hi everyone, my name is Ricardo, I'm from Mexico City. Um, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit what my story is. About 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. Lymphoma is a type of cancer, and I don't know. I was at work, I was really into my work and other things, and suddenly I started feeling really bad. I lost weight, and then I was in the hospital, and they told me I had this condition. And I started treating myself with chemotherapy. That's the same time I went into the hospital, they gave me the diagnosis, and that same week I started the chemotherapy. And well, this process, an uncle that is in the activity, is not here, he's doing the activity, he came out into the hospital and gave me one book. It was the book of Breaking the Habits, Dr. Joe's. And I started reading that book. I was really not into this, right? But I was like, huh. And I don't know how he captures my attention, all the analytical, the scientific part. And I started like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to try it. So I started doing the meditations. And well, when my chemotherapy finished, because there was 12 sessions of chemotherapy, I was treated in the hospital called Hospital Español.
Been there many times.
And when I was done with my chemotherapies, they told me, okay, now you do a PET scan. And when I have the PET scan results, they say, there's something that we don't like, but we're going to wait probably 3 months, and then we're going to try again to see what's going on. Meanwhile, I went to the first progressive. My uncle was like, hey, I was just finishing my chemotherapies, and I was at the Hospital Español, and I received the information at the Hospital Español. I didn't know there was a convention center in the Hospital Español. I was like, what? Really? So I went, and I don't know, you blow my mind. Thank you. And I keep on going, and I stopped being myself. It was a lot of challenges, of course. And well, after this, there was another advanced workshop at Cancun. And it was funny because before I was diagnosed, I was putting a lot of effort in a hotel. I used to work in a furniture company. And I was making the furniture for a hotel named Breathless. And suddenly, boom, advanced workshop at Breathless Hotel. And I was like, really? Yeah. I have to go. I went to the advanced workshop before my other PET scan, and I had a really mystical experience that time in that workshop. I couldn't believe it. Was like, all right, this is not me. Really, this is not me. And then I have another mystical experience in that workshop, and I was like, what? I was kind of confused. I was like, what? Of course, I got a cold and everything. I was really confused what was going on. I was like, really, this is not me. This is a body, and this is an instrument of consciousness.
Ha 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 ha.
And so either way, the workshop, the advanced workshop, it was one of my best experience. It was really into the unknown. I was blowing my mind. But I went back to Mexico and I did my PET scan. And after my PET scan, I went to the doctor. I was with my family. I want to say something important. My family comes from my grandfather from my dad and my grandfather from my mother. They're both doctors. They're doctors. And my grandmother, she studied chemistry and she was working in labs all her whole life. And so I did the PET scan. And the results show up that I was having the lymphoma. I still have the lymphoma. So my doctor told me, he's a great doctor, and I'm in love with the nurses and all that team in the Español. And he told me, all right, I love you and I want the best for you, so I want you to, tomorrow, if you can, come to the Español. We're going to give you a really hard chemotherapy, and then we're going to put you in a bubble. Because we're going to transplant mother cells. Mm-hmm, that's correct, mm-hmm. Stem cells. And we're gonna do this, but we have to give you a really hard chemotherapy and put you 3 weeks in a bubble. And I don't know what happened, yo. I just felt something and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry, I know you want the best for me. And I keep on looking at my parents. My mom and dad was sitting next to me and they were looking at me and I was like, you have to go tomorrow. You're my son, you know? And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Let me try. And so I went to another doctor, 3 doctors, 4 doctors, 5 doctors, and they have the same opinion. They were like, you have to go into this process. And either way, I ended up with a doctor at another hospital, and I make a deal with him. I told him, all right, please let me 3 months. I'm gonna keep on doing what you tell me to do, like blood tests and whatever. But I want 3 months. I want 3 months, and let's see what's next. Meanwhile, there was another follow-up at Cabos, and guess
that
what?
Was fun.
Cabos and Lucas. And another project before all this process that we did the furniture for, the 2 big projects that I was working my butt out, breathless, and then I was like, no way. It's in Secrets Hotel. I did very well, so I work in that place. I was like, really? This synchronicity and all that Joe's talking about is crazy. I just can't believe it. So I went to that event. I went back to Mexico, and suddenly I started feeling really sick. Stomach problems, I was having some problems. So before the PET scan, the doctor told me, all right, you have to do a blood test before. Let's check, because I see you that you are a little bit sick. You have temperature and you have this, right? I did some blood tests. You're not gonna believe this. No, I'm not getting into it's just the half of the story. So when I did those blood tests, I was like feeling like I wasn't feeling really good, but I was inspired. Some days were like, oh no, why am I sick, right? But when I went to the labs, they give you a password, right? So you log in the computer, so you get your results. And I guess the password was, I remember perfectly, because I was asking for a sign, always in meditations. All right, am I doing this good? If I keep this track, what I have to do? And I was also expanding some other things. I was looking for more information, books, you know. And suddenly the password was Q001D Joe. That was and I was waiting for a second, and suddenly I see like Dr. Joe in the password. Really? What are you doing? What are you doing here? So I got the results, and in that time there was, I don't know how to say in English, but it was sedimentación globular. That is a value for the blood test. I had a Hodgkin lymphoma. So if that's normally really high when you have a lymphoma. And it was lower than the average. I was like, really? But in the end, I ended up having salmonella. I ate something, I don't know. Or probably I manifest in Cabos. But see, I want you to understand this. There was like, really, salmonella, my immune system, blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't gonna be the victim anymore. I was gonna be responsible, and I was gonna find the message of the salmonella. So I went to the doctor, and I have salmonella. And he's like, oh man, I can't do the PET scan right now, because the salmonella or whatever, if you swallow or something, it will catch up, it will appear something in the PET scan. So we will wait a little bit. And I was like, great, I'm gonna keep on going. So I keep on going. In this process, it was gonna be 3 months. It went I was like 10 months or 11 months that I keep on going. I was passionate with your work, passion. I didn't skip one day. And I'm gonna be honest, I had some days that I thought I was really going crazy, that I was losing my mind, that I was gonna die. And another part was like, hey man, life is not serious, and this is gonna be your best teacher. It's gonna be your best teacher. And I was like, all right. So I keep on going, keep on going. A lot of obstacles, a lot of fear appear, but it's how you face the fear. You have to fall in love with life. Yeah. So I keep on going, and either way, 10 months went past. I did my PET scan, and I was waiting for the results. And I was so in love, and of course, I was like a little doubt, I gotta be honest. So I went to the doctor, and my parents were sitting next to me. They were always in this process. They didn't understand what I was doing, but they were with me. They were like, what are you doing, please? And they talked to my uncle that he's not here. And he's like, Mau, his name is Mauricio. Mau, please tell Ricardo that he has to be treated with normal medicine. And Mau, he's like, oh my gosh, I gave him that book. I trust Dr. Joe's work. And he has been with me in the whole course, all the advanced follow-up and everywhere. So instead of talking to me, he told my parents, hey, I need to talk to you. So my parents, there was another progressive workshop at the Hospital Español. So I took them to the progressive workshop. They understand what I was doing, right? So either way, my parents were sitting next to me. I was at the doctor's office, and then he brought the results, and he's like, man, there's something here. There's something here, appears something. So we have to give you chemotherapy. And I was like, really? No way. This is not me. And he is now like, all right, your blood test doesn't match what's with the PET scan. So we're gonna do a biopsy, right? We're gonna do a biopsy to see what line we're gonna give you of chemotherapies. Poof. It was, whoa. Everything like came down that day. It was like, whoa. And I didn't have one. They talk about the dark side, the
Dark night?
dark night of the soul. I didn't have one. I probably had like 20 or more. Yeah.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah, and that day I was like, boom. And I was like, no, but I didn't miss a day. That day, I did my meditation. I did it again. Yeah. I didn't have no reason to do it though. But I knew that I was connecting with something. And I was passionate with Dr. Joe's work. And either way, between that, I decided to do the biopsy or not. It went past, like 3 weeks went past, right? So my parents were telling me, please do it, please do it. And I was like, I don't know. I probably should try other thing or other alternative thing, alternative medicine or something. And all right, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna surrender, and I'm gonna listen what's the environment telling me in this time. And I'm not gonna say that they have the right, but I'm gonna listen to my mom and dad. So I went and did my biopsy. So in these 3 weeks, I wanna be really clear. In these 3 weeks, since they gave me the results, and I went to do my biopsy, I promise to you, I don't know. I was in Querétaro the next day. They gave me the results because I called an ex-girlfriend. I was like, I don't know what happened. She's like, no, you probably have to work harder or something. I'm doing it. And I don't know. And I went to Querétaro. It's outside Mexico City, just outside Mexico City. I remember I was downtown Querétaro at night. And suddenly I was walking. And something happened that I couldn't believe it. So suddenly there was like a feeling of the present moment. I found the present moment, but I wasn't looking for the present moment. It was suddenly like, whoa.
No, it found you, my friend.
Yeah, and it was like, what? Everything was perfect. Everything was aligned. The windows, the people, everything was so beautiful. And I didn't care if I was gonna die, if I had cancer, if I didn't have cancer. I was just in love with the moment. I promise you I was in love with the moment. And I was like, all right, I don't care anymore. Yeah, and that moment was like, wow. Either way, that happened 3 or 4 times. And these 3 weeks, I also had some really bad times. But when I had the bad times, I knew that the event was coming back again. And I was, all right, come on. So, either way. Thank you. So, I did the biopsy, and when I went to take out the stitches, because they open here, and the other doctor, the one who did the surgery, told me like, your results were here like 5 days ago. You can go with your doctor now. And I was like, really? And I was, all right, I'm going. And I was expecting the doctor to tell me like, all right, what line are you gonna get treated with, right? So you guys remember when Dr. Joe says, the moment will come in the least expected moment, right? Do you guys remember that? It was just, I wasn't expecting that at all. In that, because in my meditations, I was practicing what I was gonna say to the doctor. All right, I did some epigenetics, neuroplasticity, you know? But in that moment, I was sitting in his office, and the doctor kept on coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And then he looked at me, and he was like, what are you doing? Huh? Oh, I do furniture. Oh! It was, I couldn't, I wasn't waiting for that. So either way, he comes up with the results. He puts it on the table, and he says, Ricardo, this is reactive. And I was like, all right, what's next? No, reactive. And I was like, yeah, what's next? Reactive. So what's that, doctor? That means there's nothing. What? Yeah. I love you, yo. I love you. Thank you so much. You're just an angel, man. I love you. You're an angel. Yeah. So, I promise you guys, everybody here in this audience can do their miracle. Everyone has probably a condition or they're facing something. Because that's the fun part of life, right? If not, what are we doing here, right?
Now, is he beautiful? Now here's the beauty behind this man. Treatment for cancer and recovery from cancer is a long road, and it's a bumpy road. And there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of moments where you get discouraged and you lose hope and you have fear and you have doubt. And people in your life are reflecting back to you that you have to take care of yourself in the way that they think. So there's a lot of pressure coming from all different directions, let alone living in a body. You know, he didn't have cancer, his body had cancer, right? So it's a challenge to stay with it every day, and yet the body lives in the past. It lives in the past, right? So it's got to catch up. So he has these moments where he feels connected and he feels great, but his body still has to catch up. And every day he's working on signaling that gene. Every day he's upregulating genes, downregulating genes, but he's still living his life. And he still has challenges, and he still has reactions, and he still has things that are going on. He's not in a cave or at a retreat center, and where he's not being, he's not engaged in his life. He's participating in his life, and because of that, the process of healing is not very linear. He takes a couple steps, and then his body, does what it does, and he takes another step. But the beauty behind it, you would have to agree with, is that he started to let go of the outcome. Yes? He just started focusing on the effort and start surrendering and start just giving up to try to make it happen a certain way. He got to the point where he reached the end of what he thought was possible. And the moment he just got out of the way, all of a sudden something greater starts to step in, and he starts getting these impulses. That energy starts moving through his body. And he knows now that when that's happening, that isn't him doing it. You understand? Something's happening to him. And in the process, he just continues to let go. He lets go so much that he's not even knowing what the doctor's about to say. He's so outside of the context of himself that he's made room for something greater to happen. And he's the living example of truth. Thank you so much.